This is the Bear Country Outdoors Barely a Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Joyce, and with me is James Forsland and Chris Cantrell. Thanks for joining.
Welcome back. We are doing a podcast, and we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Joey Pyburn. Thanks for coming.
I don't know how special, but I'm here.
He is extremely special. He is the one and only Joey Pyburn.
Yeah, we're doing a rerun because the last time we had him here, we fucked the whole show up.
We kind of shit the bed on that one. Yeah,
and that was my bad.
And it was amazing content. Some of the best stuff you guys could ever hear.
It was good.
We covered all of it.
Awesome.
And you'll never hear it.
And I remember I was so disappointed.
And I've forgotten what we talked about. So
I think
we talked about your spring bear
stuff.
Hunt. That was a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
And it's been a while. You know, Joey's a hard guy to track down. He's like a world traveler.
Yeah.
I kind of screwed you guys over last week. Got a little too busy and couldn't make it in. But
you were raised baiting it up.
Yep, I was.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Trying to sling that bait. Got to make a living. Keep the lights on.
Speaking of, if you're looking for live bait or frozen bait or whatever bait, look up raisebait.com.
Is it raisebait.com?
It's not, because I don't. No. With our business, we don't really even need a website. It's been in business for since 1980, so people kind of know us. So we don't have a website
Before the internet, yeah.
And
you guys are in like everywhere around here that sells bait, basically.
yeah, from here to from here down to California, Montana,
Holy
South
shit.
Dakota. We sell bait all over the place.
You guys do like herring and stuff, but you guys also do like smelt?
We do everything.
And
dude.
you do
If it's bait, we do it.
Night crawlers?
Yeah.
Not power bait.
Sand shrimp?
Sand scramps.
Sand shrimps? Oh, yeah.
Scramps? I like them
Sand
scramps.
scramps. Yeah, we do all of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of our deal. And it's kind of, that has allowed me to obviously fish a lot, since I was a kid, working for the business. And then, also hunt a lot, which is my...
Which ties into Joey's other job, which is co-host of The Outdoor Line.
Yeah. Yep. Do a radio show every Saturday morning, 7:10 Seattle Sports, 6 to 8 a.m. And we kind of cover, all obviously by season, everything that's happening here in Washington and around the Northwest, whether it's hunting or fishing, we dig into that.
Yeah.
More and more, what I find myself doing is going to meetings and being involved in the politics part of fishing and hunting, like you guys do, right? I mean, we're all fighting for our opportunity all the time. So, I signed on to do the radio show thinking I was going to be going in there and talking about tips and tactics and all that stuff, which we do. But we also now have to talk a lot about what's happening in the politics of hunting and fishing and how we can kind of help guide our Fish and Wildlife Department to make sure that we all have opportunity and the next generation has it, right? And look, I'm getting up there. I've done a lot in my life, and if it all ended and I wasn't able to hunt and fish anymore, I've got my cut, right? But we got to think about, you have kids, Chris, you have kids. I don't have kids, but you guys have kids. That's the next step. It's like all those things that we grew up doing, that's what we want to make sure that they have.
Yeah.
So we're fighting for their opportunity in the future.
As much as, it would be nice just to sit and do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And talk about the fun stuff.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any fun stuff to be had if none of us showed up to any meetings and we all didn't voice our opinions and we just took it every time. We wouldn't have anything to fight for, and then
think
no
about
more
it.
fun time.
Like when this whole thing kind of started, it was with spring bear, and then that's
it started
before that, but that's kind of what really kicked it off into a whole nother.
This new commission
Yes.
that's been running amok for a long time, yeah. And I mean, Joey, you've been around long enough to know and see that there's always issues on the table, especially with fishing stuff. Like losing opportunities, especially when it comes to take. But it has come to more of a head, especially in the last, I'd say in the last 5 years. Really, it's been one after another, after another, after another.
Yeah, for sure. And when we talk about fishing opportunity, there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's a numbers game at that point. We are, all of our fisheries are constrained by stocks of concern, which are ESA listed salmon or steelhead in the Puget Sound, the coast, all up and down Washington, Canada. The Fraser has issues. So that comes down to numbers. Our opportunity is based on how many impacts we have on these stocks of concern. We might have 1 million hatchery fish pushing into Puget Sound this summer. We can only access those fish based on how many impacts we have on ESA listed salmon and steelhead. So that's a numbers thing, really. When it comes to our hunting, our Fish and Wildlife Commission has been hijacked by animal rights activists, put in place by our governor, who has now fled the state to Idaho, Inslee, and
he's fled to Idaho now?
Yeah, he's going to be living with you next door to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Now that's a whole nother different thing. Now these animal rights activists who actively sit on our Fish and Wildlife Commission have a lot of say because they have the power of a lot of, I don't have to really governor my, the way I speak on this show as much as I do on the radio show.
We're fucking full tilt, buddy.
Yeah. Let him have it.
Yeah.
Now's your chance.
So, fucking Ferguson.
I mean, don't get yourself fired from the radio show, but keep going.
No, I won't get fired. Trust me. But they have the full power of a lot of people who sit in their parents' basement with their blue hair and their pierced noses and lips and nipples and whatever they have. And they like to write emails.
Yep.
So they have the full force of all these people who don't actually go out and enjoy the outdoors in any way at all, okay? I don't see them out there hiking. Mm-hmm. I hike a lot. When I'm hunting, I hike a lot. I hike a lot when I'm not hunting, and I hike a lot when I'm hunting. I don't see those people out there. But they sit, and anytime they hear about anything animal-related, they attack. So what happens is when we talk about something like our spring bear, they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand that this is actually part of sound wildlife management, the North American model that we've used for a long time, and it's worked.
Right. Yep.
They just go, well, these redneck barbarians are out there murdering innocent animals, and then they flood the commission. And I'm talking about you when I say that.
It is me.
And they flood the commission with emails. And more, it's about public perception.
Social science.
The optics of it,
science,
right?
That's the term we keep hearing.
So, yeah, I mean, that's it. You can just go down that rabbit hole as much as you want, and it becomes very taxing for guys like us who understand. This is more about a healthy ecosystem, which means everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And because of human intervention, urban sprawl, whatever you want to call it, we have had an impact on the habitat. Mm-hmm. And when I see these crazy wackos on social, like I like to go on and I like to trap. So I like to go to some trapping sites and look at, dad and his daughter out there trapping beavers, and she gets her first beaver. That's a big deal, man. And then you get to read all the comments, and most of the time on those forums, it's very supportive. But then you get the people who are like,
Dude.
They say some horrible stuff.
Fucking horrible things.
They just don't understand. Listen, beavers are rodents, no different than a rat. Do you want a bunch of rats living in your house? Now, if you own a piece of property and maybe you have a pond, and that pond has a very small trickle that goes down to a river, a beaver is going to show up in your pond. And they're going to start to cut down all your trees. And they're going to dam things up. And they're going to ruin the habitat. Sometimes they make it better, though. So I'm not saying trap all the beavers. But there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Right.
And as humans living on this planet, we have to balance sometimes. And the optics of that are not always pleasant for the people who live in their parents' basement because they don't understand. So it gets very difficult to navigate the waters for guys like us because we're like, hey, we've been doing this our whole lives. And then you get more into the politics side of it and you start to understand. You talk to biologists who, like when we talked to the biologist when we're going through the spring bear thing, they're like, yeah, we need this hunt. There's a reason for it. We're only harvesting, what was it?
It was
664 tags, 160 some odd bears killed in a spring season. 164 bears? Are you kidding me? That is nothing.
No.
It's nothing.
Like in the scheme
in
of
the grand
numbers,
scheme of things, when we don't really know bear population numbers in this state to an exact, but we know there is 20 to 30,000 black bears in this state. People have them in their yards. When you have that many bears, a big male will displace a female with cubs. She will push down closer to, homes or somewhere where she feels safe, and maybe that big old bear doesn't want to live, and then she'll set up camp there. Now you got bears living in your backyard. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't really want that. And we used to have this thing where we could manage them pretty well, which was dogs and bait. And they took that away from us. And then they took away our spring bear hunt, which was basically there to help our elk herds, right? I mean, that's really what it was there for.
Put a little bit of pressure on the bear in the springtime, so where they're not just running amok all over the place.
And then they don't want to live next to houses anymore. And if you can harvest, you use bait, which is very effective way to harvest a mature bear. Because guess what? You can sit in a tree. There's a big pile of bait. Bears come in, and guys like us, we don't want to shoot a sow. We don't want to shoot a 1 or 2 or 3-year-old male or boar. We want to shoot that boar that walks in and everybody scatters. He's probably past his prime, but those bears are actually highly destructive to the population. Mm-hmm. And you can harvest that bear and take him out. And then what that does is open up more habitat for that sow with her cubs. Mm-hmm. It's actually really good for the bear population to do that. Dogs, again, nothing easier than, well, it's not easy, but run a bear up a tree, and then it's really easy to go, okay, well, that's clearly a sow. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to shoot it. Or that's a young boar. Let him pass. We'll come back for him in a few years. Or that's a cranker, dude. Mm-hmm. That's a 10-year-old bear.
Yep. I'm
taking him out. And that allows that younger boar to then breed those females. And, it's just it's a management tool, right? In a state like Washington, when you allow people to vote, people who have no idea, and you allow them to vote to get rid of baiting and dogs, it just leads to a bunch of chaos in your state.
Well, they vote with feelings, not with science. So
yeah, for sure. And I kind of understand that because somewhere we got away from parents raising their children. Schools took over computers, telephones, and we weren't taking kids out and actually showing them the natural world. And if they don't care about it, they've never been taken on a fishing trip or gone out in the field with their dad or their grandfather duck hunting, and they've never seen it, they'll never care about that because they just don't understand it.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's different. Like, people raise their kids differently, which I understand. Like, there's people that live in the city. They like to do things in the city, and they like the culture, and they like the restaurants and stuff. Well, then those people, like, and I hate to say it, but those people don't really have much education or background in wildlife management, and they don't get to see all the wild things, and they get to have a great say in what we can and cannot do for the people who do enjoy that. Like, I don't go voting for, like, I don't know what kind of city politics you can vote for, strip clubs with alcohol and stuff. Like, I could care less. Like, I mean, I guess that'd be cruel, but I don't care about that kind of stuff, and I have no business. I'm not educated enough to weigh my opinion on that kind of stuff. So I don't involve myself, but it seems like more and more that side is getting more and more involved with our side. And then there's like big miscommunication and a lot of misinformation because of social media and whatever their algorithm shows them, like it's a kind of a mess, and we're seeing it now with even with Colorado. Like, Colorado's
the fur ban.
It's a complete mess.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, the fur ban, just like here in Washington, we have this push, and a lot of these policy things are driven by petitions that are put forth by, I'm not going to mention all the names, you know who they are. These are these anti-hunting activist groups.
Washington Wildlife First.
Yeah, I don't like to even say it.
We shall not mention his name
Center
here.
for Biological Diversity.
Okay, yeah, you can keep, I mean, there's, and, they put forth a petition to the department, and they're like, well, we should push back our fall bear hunt now. Now, I love to spring bear hunt, but really, I love fall, right?
Yep.
Like, nothing better than August in the mountains. Whether I'm hunting or not, that's just one of my favorite times because I can travel freely. There's no snow. The temperatures are good. I don't have to pack 11 pounds of clothes or big, heavy sleeping bags or a lot of gear. I can travel freely, sleep wherever I want. The lakes are open. I can catch trout. There's berries. So the fall for me is like one of my favorite times. And now we have this petition. They would like us to push back our fall bear hunt in order to not have conflict with wildlife viewing.
Just such horseshit, by the way.
It is. And, I don't know what kind of conflict there is. Obviously, I probably have a little bit different way I carry myself in the mountains when I'm hunting, when I encounter hikers, because I understand how important that is to
drive a Subaru.
Yeah, like they see me in the parking lot, like this guy is ours, and then I pull out the gun with the suppressor and the backpack, and they're like, oh, maybe this guy isn't with us. But then I have that conversation with them, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you hunting? And I'm like, well, it's our fall bear season. And they're like, really? What do you? There's bear. Well, a lot of times you get this. Yeah. There's bears up here.
There's bears.
It's like
and I'm like, yeah, this
grizzly bear sign right down the road at the trailhead.
This is where the bears live. We're in the mountains.
Yeah.
But then you have that conversation where you can, if you put a smile on your face and you talk to them the right way, you can flip them real quick. And I do it all the time. So I've never had one of these conflicts that they're talking about with wildlife viewers or other hikers. I've had really long, like, I can talk, bro. You wanna talk about hunting? I'll tell you my whole story. Right here on this trail.
Yeah.
Let me take off this 80-pound pack with a bunch of bear meat in it, so I'm not just standing
Good for you
here.
to give them the time of day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll run them through the whole deal, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, well, when you kill the bear, what do? I'm like, well, I bone it out, take all the meat off the bone, put it in, game bags, load it in my pack, and then I make either one really horrible trip out of here, or I make, as I get older, maybe I make two horrible trips out of here. And then they're like, what do you do with the meat? And I'm like, well, it's the best meat on the planet, What do you think these bears are up here eating?
Dude.
What are you eating right now? and they're picking huckleberries, right? And I'm like, what do you think the bears are eating? Have you ever had a berry-fed bear? It's like grass-fed beef, man.
Dude, they're so good.
It's amazing. And then you flip those people real quick, and by the time I'm done, they're like, I want to come to your house for dinner. And I'm like, yeah, because
come on over.
You know, I work really hard for this meat. I'm not up here just shooting a bear because I want to kill a bear.
Right.
And then they always ask me about do you just take the hide? And I'm like, no, I leave the hide because that's another 40 or 50 pounds on my pack.
That's Cantrell.
Depending on how big the bear is.
That's Chris Cantrell. He's up ahead.
Yeah. I'm like, I want the meat. That's why I'm here. And so it's really easy to flip those. And I think it's better to have wildlife viewers in the woods with hunters who are doing it ethically and doing it the right way so that when we have those interactions, they get to hear our story and they get to know us a little bit. And then they're like, wow, that's really cool.
I honestly think.
And I'm always like, go tell all your friends.
How often do you think there's a bad interaction? Because I feel like this is something from the commission that's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
Just like their spring bear thing because they didn't listen to
Well,
the biologists.
remember, these are petitions brought forth not by the commission.
The blue hairs.
By these other organizations. So they just once they get that, they have to have conversations about it because now everything has to be run through the public. We can't just do wildlife management based on science. We have to allow everybody to have input.
You need a Facebook poll.
Well, I mean, how it doesn't make any sense because how many people do you run into in the woods that actually know that there are bears out there or even see a bear?
No, they have no idea.
None.
Almost never. I've never ran into someone on the mountain, and trust me, I've covered probably thousands of miles in my time.
I don't think I've ran into one person.
And I don't think I've ever seen a guy with a camera like, I'm waiting for the perfect shot on a bear.
Yeah.
Not once.
And I'd be like, oh, you see a bear?
I mean, there was one time me and Hartsock were sitting on the trailhead watching a bear like that far away, and some people come by. What are you guys doing? Oh, we're looking at bears. There's bears around here?
Yeah.
I'm like,
they usually don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen someone specifically going to watch bears.
No.
Not a single time.
Ever.
No.
And I've been along.
The majority of the people that are going out there taking pictures or doing whatever, they're taking pictures of nature.
Well, they're also walking around. Like, I'll be set up, you know, usually I'll use trail systems to then jump.
To get somewhere.
And then jump to, you know, everybody's on the trail.
Yeah.
I use it to get in here. Then I jump the ridge. I go up and I'm up there by myself. But occasionally you'll be hiking in and you go, whoa, there's, you know, I just see like, 2,000 yards away, there's a bear up in that berry patch. And then you just plunk down, dump your pack, get out your spotter, and you're just sitting there looking at this bear. And some hiker will come walking by. And I had this experience. I had my buddy Mark Boardman from Vortex Optics.
That's why he wasn't shooting.
Chris.
Out of his range, Loophole out of Senate.
And so we're sitting there and we're looking up there at this bear, and this father and son walk up, and we're going after this bear, but it's a long ways away, but we're just trying to figure out our
For
plan.
a Vortex guy, it's a long ways,
Yeah. And the dad walks down, and here's a yard sale of hunting equipment, rifles and spotting scopes and all this, cool stuff. And the dad's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, we're looking at that bear up there. And he's like, there's a bear up there? And I'm like, yeah, come here. And so I grab the kid, little dude, like 8 years old. And I'm like, you want to see a bear? And I get him on the spotter, and he gets to look up there and see this bear, right?
Right.
Probably never seen a bear.
Yeah.
I remember the first bear I saw was at Baker Lake when I was like 7 years old. It's the first bear I actually saw, which is for guys like us, it's a big deal. And for this little dude, big deal, seeing a bear. And they sat there with us for, 5 or 7 minutes while we were making our plan. And then we're like, okay, pack it up. We're going to go. And then Boardman shot that bear at like 789.
Really?
Dumped it.
Probably a Loophole scope.
No, all Vortex Optics, no Loophole on the mountain.
So is luck.
Yeah.
So it's pure luck.
Or a giant bear. It was a really big bear. A huge
He just
bear.
had to point.
Right?
Yeah, so those are the kind of interactions you have, in the mountains with wildlife viewers.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's never been, for me, a conflict, because when I see them walking towards me on the trail, I got a big dumb smile on my face, and I'm.
Yep.
How you folks doing today?
I've
Good
never
to
had
see
a
you.
conflict. Not once.
No,
never.
you don't.
Not
ever.
in those situations. Like the only time I've had conflict is like,
With other hunters?
well, yeah, occasionally.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I've had more conflicts with other hunters than I have with wildlife viewers.
I had one crazy neighbor lady she was an anti-hunter that lived down the road from my dad's house. And I remember I shot this bear and brought it back to my dad to show my dad, and was out, like, had it in the back of the truck, and I'm like, hey, showing him, oh, good job, son. Like, and then this lady was walking her dog by and was like, oh my gosh, and started freaking out. And that was a confrontation.
Right.
But on the mountain, like, as Joey's saying, like, most of the time when I run into someone and I'm, like, trying to make a move on a bear, like, me and Matt had that happen 2 years ago. We were trying to figure out a play on a bear. A family of, like, five people, like a husband, wife, and their little kids, all sat there. And then they stuck around for, like, 20 minutes watching us make this play on this bear because they wanted to see us shoot it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had no idea about hunting. They didn't know there was bears up there, nothing. They were just, like, legitimately intrigued by the situation and that there's people doing this. And it wasn't a confrontation at all. And then, like, yeah, you might run into people that may not like what you're doing, but, like, Joey said, like, if you educate people, and most people want to talk to you, like, especially if they see you have a bear, or, like, you're carrying a bag of, like, bloody meat or something, they're like,
I mean, we're carrying guns around in the woods. I mean,
yeah, most people are, like, genuinely curious, like, oh, what are you doing? And then you start that conversation, and people are like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I had one lady sat there for, like, 30 minutes talking to me, trying to ask me every detail she could for her son that was 15 that was interested in getting into hunting. And how do you do it? How do you get started? Where do you go? Like, and I was just, like, entertaining her, and the kid, you could see, he was excited, like, oh man, I'm going to go through Hunter's Ed and I'm going to be able to do this. And there's bears up here. And now I know I can go poach this guy's spot,
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's good to take that time and talk to those people. But like Joe said, I've never had a confrontation on the mountain, like in these places that are said wildlife viewing areas. So it's horse shit that they're even throwing that in there as a stipulation.
Well, and when we talk about wildlife viewing areas, I mean, I duck hunt a lot, right? What about all the bird watchers? Maybe we should not allow us to duck hunt so that they have the opportunity to take pictures of ducks. It's like, well, we can all use the resource however we want, and we can all get along. It's just about, conversations like this where we're like, look, I'm out here doing my thing. You're out here doing yours.
Yeah.
And trust me, it's very rare that you're actually going to interact with me in the act of harvesting that bear, because you may see me looking at it, but I got to go hike 2,000 yards, climb a mountain, get into position to harvest that bear. I'm not going to mess with your wildlife viewing, okay? You're probably not even going to know I'm there. You may see me on the trail, but if they push this back, guess what? I'm going in the woods August 1st, okay? I'm going in, and I'm going to hike around with my rifle and my full kit, and I'm going to hunt whatever is available. Maybe I can't legally hunt bears, so I'll hunt coyotes. It's open year-round. They're still going to have to deal with me out there, okay? And I'm still going to educate people and try to make them understand what I'm doing out there. It's about those conversations are important to have with folks who are out there doing something other than what we are, okay? They leave that conversation and go home, and trust me, you don't think it's cool for them that they saw some guy out there with, fancy gun with a silencer and all this cool equipment and in great shape, because we work hard all year to make sure that we're able to do that. And then you have that conversation and, you're smart, you're not just a big dumb idiot drinking beers and throwing them on the trail, right?
Not saying I've done that.
And then they go out and they pass on that experience with their friends, and they're like, yeah, we ran into this guy who's way back there.
Yeah.
You know, we were back there camping with our family. It took us 2 days to get in there, and he showed up at first light and hiked all the way in there 10 miles and showed up at first light, and he was hunting off his back, living out of a little tiny tent, and trying to kill a bear and pack it all the way out of there to get the meat. And that's the kind of things we want people to take home with them, right?
That's going to be the highlight of their trip in there.
Yeah, they're going to be like
going home and telling their buddies, like, you wouldn't believe what I saw.
Right.
Yeah.
There's, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne like, coming off the mountain, right?
Well, then the best thing ever is, you know, like I hike into a lot of spots up north that are very popular. Like there's times when I've been hiking in the afternoon, like I get up there around noon or 1 o'clock, and I'm hiking into my spot. Well, I'm on a very popular hiking trail. I'm not going to say exactly where it is, but most people could probably figure out there's a lot of really popular spots that are way up high. So you're starting at elevation. The hikes are not that hard. That's why there's a lot of people there. And it's like you're in God's country, man. You're looking around. There's glaciers and mountains and volcanoes, and it's beautiful.
Railroad grade. Yeah.
And I might see 100 people that day, and I'm the only dude with a rifle. So you have a lot of conversations. And the people who don't want to talk to you, guess what? I see they look at me, I smile, they look away, and they just keep going.
Yeah.
And I know, look, that person doesn't want to talk to me, that's fine. But a lot of times when people look at me and I smile or I say, how you guys doing? And they're like, good. What
are you doing?
Do you work for the Forest Service? That I get that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I don't wear a lot of camo, right? I'm like,
You're cool.
I look like I have a uniform
You're
on,
super
right?
cool, yeah.
Just grays or drab colors. And they'll be like, do you work for the Forest Service? And I'm like, no, it's our fall bear season. And then you just get into that conversation. And then you find, you know, it's hard to like hate somebody or hate what they're doing when you get to actually talk to them and hear what they're doing and how much passion they have. And I just try to really make that interaction the best I possibly can. Every one of them. And sometimes it's taxing, dude. It's like every 100 yards you have to explain what you're doing. And some people are like, cool, I love it. And they keep moving.
Yeah.
Other people are like, I want to dig in, man. Tell me all about this.
Yeah. I feel like the only time that I see like negative interactions, it's the opposite. It's like remember the fuck off lady?
Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
Yeah. It's always it's not
unhinged.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Just out of their minds.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these people have zero idea.
Yeah.
These are the people that vote against us for any sort of hunting, or it doesn't
bird
matter.
Watchers.
Yeah, like it doesn't even matter. Like they don't care about what we are going to do or the science of it or anything. Just if it hurts their feelings, there's
And they don't understand what is going on. Like what she was doing was illegal.
Oh, totally.
She was breaking the law.
Yeah.
I wish one of these people would come up to me at some point like that. And my dream is I video the whole thing and I flip them right there. If you could actually talk to her and settle her down enough to explain to her, this is public land.
Yeah.
And I'm using it the same way you are.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is trying to shoot some ducks because I'm not a big fan of chicken. I like eating ducks. And I can go get them myself.
They're full of
and
meat.
I pay a lot of money to do this.
Yeah.
And try to flip them, It's like you're walking on the beach. Great. It's public land. Walk all you want. But don't impede on my activities. You don't have the right to do that, and you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
And I wish that those were relatively young guys. Now, if that woman runs into some guys our age who've been doing this for a long time, I will break her with information. I will talk to her with so much common sense and bombard her with information that she will never do that again to anyone. Hopefully. Yeah.
Or she'll say, "Fuck off!"
Fuck off! Oh, that was amazing.
She won't even know what you said. I'll just go right through it and just be like, "Fuck off!"
I was just shocked at that. I was like, this isn't real. Like, no one's that crazy.
Oh,
right?
dude, they are. Me and Doug have seen it.
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just like,
we got
oh my
swarmed
God.
by like half a dozen people.
What?
Yeah.
Where at?
Down in
Warm
Warm
Beach.
Beach.
Really?
Back when we were younger. I've had it happen a couple times, like,
We
to
went and
where
jump shot a bunch of snow geese right in front of a bunch of people bird watching on family property.
we were on private, right?
Yeah, we're on the family property.
yeah.
Family
on our
private
family.
property. Yeah.
And they were actually
They-
trespassing.
yeah, that was my dad's best line. He's like, if anyone's going to get in trouble, it's going to be you.
Yeah. They decided to trespass, which we were at, like, our family was always really open with, like, you know, if people wanted to walk through the beach, you know, like, we just kind of let people go and
Yeah,
just,
'cause
like,
we
walk
did it
through.
as kids
'Cause
all the time,
when we were
yeah.
kids, like, we'd walk way down the beach. We're trespassing on 100 people's properties, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But then they decided that they were going to try to
Cause a fit.
throw a fit because all these geese were shot. And then they even went, like, through the trouble of, like, getting a kayak and rowing out and, like, saving a goose and bringing it back. And then, like,
That's like winged.
like, yeah.
Lead
Like,
shot in it.
hey, bring that over here. I'll save it.
Right?
But they went out there and saved it. They're going to bring it to the animal shelter or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is illegal.
Yeah,
Which
which
is
is illegal because
illegal. Yep.
I think the game warden even said, like, you don't have a license for one. You could be charged with, like, illegal possession of wildlife,
Right.
and you could be charged with hunter harassment.
Hunter
like,
harassment.
It's these
Trespassing.
people don't think about that though. Like, they don't understand, and they don't even know that there's laws in place that protect hunters,
emotions
too.
take over with
Yeah.
a lot of these folks, right? And it's because, you know, maybe the hunting community has not done the best job at explaining why we do it and
Yeah.
what we're doing. Okay.
Well, and Disney hasn't helped either.
No, it has not.
Poor Bambi.
Poor
Yeah.
Bambi. Baby's dad was a
Every
freaking
time a
toad,
hunter
I
walks
tell
in
you
the
what.
woods, that gloomy
dude.
music starts playing. Doo-doo-doo,
Well, it's like,
doo-doo-doo.
Well, and there, I think in there, I haven't watched Bambi for many years.
Bambi's
but I
dad
think
was a banger, though.
it was driving and beer cans flying out the window. So right away, they're you know, showing us in a bad light
bad
right
way.
out of the gate,
Right.
And kids watch that and they're
and
like,
every
hunters are
animal.
bad.
Yeah.
And then they grow up and maybe they're not, you know,
yeah.
not everybody grows up in a hunting or fishing family. So all they saw was Bambi and the big bad hunters who were bad people.
Dude.
Were portrayed as bad people, right? When really, I mean,
should be the heroes.
well, yeah, and we do a ton of conservation work. You know, we just had our DU banquet, and you know, we raise a bunch of money, and it goes back into conservation. I mean, they work on habitat for not only ducks, but a lot of the habitat work that they do helps our lower estuaries, our fish, our
Right.
salmon, our steelhead. There's a lot of good done by not only hunters but anglers, and you know, I think as hunters we need to do a little bit better job of letting them know really who we are, what we're about.
Right. So, quick facts. The money that we put in, like on a local level last weekend, I went to the SCI banquet.
Yeah.
If I'm sure everyone listening knows what governor's tax is, but they sold governor's tax, which goes right back to the fishing game, which goes in hopefully into management. Unfortunately, our fishing game is incredibly corrupt, so it's probably going to go into Lauren Smith's pocket or something like that. I don't know. That's all hearsay. Allegedly, I think I need to say before I say
all the
that.
people that show up for the meetings and bitch and
But
complain.
the 3 deer tags sold for $57,500. The moose tag sold there as well.
57.5 was
Yeah.
the 3 deer. The
3
moose
deer.
went for 107.5.
$107,000.
That's way higher than it's gone at Sheep
Dude.
Show for
It
the
went
last couple
for
years.
57 last year.
Dude,
The moose did.
$107,000.
That's insane.
So
and the moose, it's not even a great time to get that tag.
Yeah, it's a horrible time for that tag.
Yeah.
So I would say
Unless there's a moose that someone knows about.
there
There is.
the world
Yeah.
records coming
jeez.
out.
Of
But
course,
anyways,
there's always
that's
a world record.
allegedly.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Okay.
But I will tell you that
Once it gets eaten
How much
by
you
wolves.
gotta pay to find out that info?
$107,000.
Paid
Yeah.
$107,000.
He already paid
Does
it.
that info
Yeah.
come with that?
Yeah. So I feel like we're putting in a huge amount of money as hunters, and the problem is there's a very few select individuals that have a ton of money. I'm not going to name names. Maybe she owns the Seahawks, whatever. But she's funding these anti-hunting
Sure.
organizations
Yeah.
like
Washington Wildlife.
Yeah. The
you know.
gross ones.
Yeah. And it sucks because these people have billions of dollars and they hate our guts for no reason other than they just hate our guts. They've never met us. They don't know anything we do. They're not going to she's not going to become educated.
Yep.
100% she's not.
No.
You know.
And
she's
again, she just doesn't understand.
yeah.
You know.
Maybe she needs to talk to you. Go talk to her.
Yeah. Well, I would love that. I'd love
Have her
to
on
get.
the
I'd
radio
love
show.
to get.
I wonder.
I'd love to get her ear for a little bit. You know.
Tell her you're going to talk about the Seahawks, and then just pin her on the
Yeah.
radio show.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the issues we face is you have these individuals with hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars who are funding, and they're very well funded. When we're, you know, I was just talking to Brian Lynn from the Sportsman's Alliance on my way here.
Big fan.
And, you know, we talk about this stuff all the time. And it's like, you know, an organization like the Sportsman's Alliance is well funded, but it is not well funded compared to
No.
these other orgs that have billion-dollar backers behind them. So it makes it extremely difficult to, you know, breach that gap and get to those people and explain, hey, we're not the devil. You know, this is what humans have done
Since the dawn of time.
since we have been on this planet. We have hunted, we have gathered. That's how we built this thing, this house, these roads, these cars, technology. It was all built on the back of hunting and gathering.
100%.
Without that, hey, guess what?
We'll be dead.
Yeah. We
Gotta
wouldn't
feed
exist.
yourself
A big
somehow.
natural disaster, an EMP, nuclear war, Yellowstone finally decides to burp and
Yeah.
we all go into darkness. Those people would be lucky to know people like us because we will be able to survive because we've carried on that tradition of hunting and gathering. And I do all of it, okay? Every last bit of it. I gather. I love going in the woods and gathering mushrooms and berries, and I love to fish, and I love to hunt. And I would like to think that if something happened like that, I would be able to, feed the people in my neighborhood or my local community or
Right,
help at
right.
least do that.
Yeah.
Because I have that knowledge. And if we lose that, all the people sitting in their mother's or father's basement,
Yeah.
guess what?
Like the Seattle mayor.
What are they going to do?
Like
yeah.
the Seattle
yeah,
Mariners. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not go down that road. We covered.
Yeah,
the
I heard you guys
topic.
cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, boy.
Oh man.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
No, I do. You're 100% right. It's people who don't have a worldview, people who've lived in this concrete box their entire life. The people that it's like the movie stars in LA, right? They live in this tiny little microcosm of retardedness over there.
Little bubble.
And it's like
The best is when they eat their own shit sandwich. Like
Yeah.
in the Grammys are like, something about stolen land or not
Yeah.
stolen land, and then there's people showing up who's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna let me
those people are
into
so
your
dumb.
house.
They're
right?
so dumb because they say
And then
things
there's
that
the same
maybe
people that have security guards
it'll-
outside their property.
it'll be hip
Yeah.
or cool at the time, but they don't know anything. They're just saying stuff to say
No.
stuff that's
Yeah.
going to make them popular on the TikToks. But I do feel like if I could book a mushroom hunting trip with Joey Pyburn, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
and there's not, and I can't imagine any of these people that live in the city. Like if you took them out and be like, "Hey, by the way, the shit growing out of the ground right there, you can eat. It's really good."
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, "No way, that's super cool."
And then you take it home, and you pair it with an elk backstrap or a blacktail that you shot here in Western Washington, or a beautiful piece of salmon, and that's not coming from McDonald's or fast food. That's actually real food that you can go out and harvest yourself. And I'm very lucky to get to I fish a lot, right? And I've been able to take tons of kids. People come on the boat, they bring their kids. Nellie and I love having kids on the boat, right? Because you have their little sponge brains in your hand, and you can make a difference right away. And you put a rod in that kid's hand with a salmon on it, or a lingcod, or a rockfish, or whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Something primal.
A sand dab.
Off, right.
And you bring it on board.
Yeah.
And you fillet that thing out for them, and you send them home with that food, and they caught it. They go home. Their parents cook it. Boom. You see the light go off in their head.
Right.
And it changes their whole little world, right? And that's where we've lost ourselves, is we're just not doing that. And look, you don't have to have a big fancy boat. You don't have to spend tons of money. We have a lot of lakes here in Washington State that are open year round for trout fishing. Take a kid fishing. Even if you don't fish, I do all these kids fishing events, and a lot of single mothers will come and bring their children. They don't know shit about fishing, but it was like it's a free event.
They just want to take their kid out and get them off of
something
their phone,
to take their kids to that's outside, and then I work with them, rig up put the night crawler on there with maybe a little power bait topper, cast it out, and then
jackpot.
Sit there and you watch it bite. They set the hook and they reel it in, and little kids just go berserko, right? They're just they're like jerking, and you get that fish on the beach, and it's wiggling around and bouncing, and the kids lose their mind. And I always think, I got that one right there, man.
Yeah.
I just spun that kid out.
Yep. Oh, and it's so quick how once they I saw it with my own kids, right? Once that clicks, this is how the food comes to your table. It's just their perspective is different. It's a lot harder, like you said. With kids, it's easy. With adults, it takes a little bit more explaining, I think.
Because the cement's dry, dude.
Yeah. I agree.
The cement's dry, right? You want wet cement to work with because you can mold it into whatever you want. Once you're an adult, who knows who's got to you before I get to you? You've had a lifetime of bullshit pumped into your brain, whether it was going to a university, which we all know how that goes, the public school system. Who knows? It's very hard to break through that cement, but it's much easier to mold that wet cement, and that's what children are.
Yep.
And, that's why I work with getting kids through the hunter education program, getting them young, where I can, away from the parents, be like, hey, buddy, you want to see something really cool?
Yeah.
I can really mess you up.
You're like a teacher.
I could ruin your life, buddy.
Hey, do you want to spend all of your money?
Do you want to spend all your money?
Do you want to be broke the rest of your life?
Do you want your future wife to constantly be nagging at you to stick to business because you're out fishing and hunting all the time?
Dude.
But when you come home, she appreciates what you've done and loves that full freezer of meat.
I think that's the other side has figured it out, right? They're after our kids just in a bad way. Right?
Yeah.
And we've lost that good side of, hey, get the kids out while they're young.
Yeah.
James's kids don't have that problem, right? Because he has them out all the time. My kid doesn't have that problem because we have them out all the time. But my daughter goes to school. James's daughter and son goes to school, and they come home and they go, Dad, am I a boy or a girl? And you're like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And it's that other side trying to pump them full of nonsense, you know, and like, no, you're a hunter gatherer and you're a boy or you're a girl or whatever.
We're in that combat mode.
Right.
Yeah,
all
and
the
it's
time.
like we shouldn't even be talking about this. And why are they pushing this nonsense on our kids? You know, but they figured out like, hey, if I can get to them while they're young, while the cement's still wet, it's pretty easy.
Pretty
to mold
easy,
them into
man.
whatever we want.
To whatever you want, and then you just keep them on that government dole.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know it. So much of this comes down to politics, you know,
Oh,
and in our
100%.
state we're stuck
Retards.
yeah, I mean, you could say it, you know.
Chris.
I forget I'm on a podcast, not on the radio show. So yes,
They just
like
passed
retards. Like
as-
our state is being run by retards.
a state income tax.
Yeah,
The largest
love
tax increase in state history.
yeah.
And here's the best part. Our governor came on and you know what he said? I'm gonna balance the budget with 0 tax increases,
Yep.
and I'm just gonna cut the budget. You know what he did? The exact opposite, because he's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
And I hate that guy's guts.
Oh, and that voted and it got passed too on Tuesday.
Yeah. So we have a state income tax coming, and here's the deal: he's not going to listen to anybody, and that's the problem. Like, you can talk sense into the vast majority of people. I feel like,
Or a few of them,
if
right?
you got
I mean,
it, if
not
you
the
got in a
vast
room,
majority.
if you get in a room with Bob Ferguson, he's going to give you word soup,
yeah,
Dude.
and he's never going to answer a question, and he's just gonna take and he's gonna take. And
He's going to be like the mayor and just run away.
You cannot talk sense to a man that wears women's underwear.
dude.
That's a fact.
That's,
Allegedly.
Is that a fact?
I don't know. I just made that up. Bob Ferguson wears women's underwear.
put that on
Allegedly.
a t-shirt. Joey's like, I'm getting fired for sure. Thanks, guys.
Doug
Thanks,
might have to cut
Thanks,
that
Bear
out.
Country.
No, we're leaving it in there. Fuck that.
But I do feel like the kids are key. Unfortunately, the bad side has figured that out. Now we need to take the good side, and it's tough because we all work a lot, right? We don't have a lot of time.
Well, then all of us also do a lot of work in the background, you know, a lot of work that we don't get paid for.
Yep.
Just, again, you know, trying to get this information out, trying to make more opportunity, whether it's on the hunting side or the fishing side, more opportunity for kids. So we're constantly working for things that we don't get paid for, you know.
The
And
fishing thing you just
how
went
many
to.
people on the other side, they're being paid, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these protesters, you know, that we see out there, they're being paid. They're not there because they want to
No.
crawl out of their mother's or father's
Hell no.
basement.
Yeah.
They're crawling out because
They don't believe in anything.
They just got a bunch
Yeah.
of money shoved in their
Yeah.
Well,
pocket.
like
Right.
if you show up to enough of these commission meetings, you can pick out in the room through testimony which ones are there representing what organizations, and they're there paid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a lot of these people that speak at every single meeting,
yeah.
they're getting paid to be there. Like we have to take time out of our work schedule. We have to go there in person or online, depending on how you do it.
Come up
But-
with your own criteria to
Yep.
spew. at the
Exactly.
commission.
And then you have to volunteer that time to fight the fight, right? These people get paid to be there, get paid
Yeah.
to sit there on their computer for, you know, hours writing out a speech,
Have all kinds of support to write speeches for them, I'm sure.
right?
Topics to talk about. Because I guarantee you the majority of these people that are in there have no idea what the fuck they're talking about unless they're given a guide.
Yeah. Well, and they do. They give out, like, I've seen some of the guides that they send out
Yeah.
to their people in their organizations. Like, they'll be like, all right, so here's what our agenda is for this upcoming meeting. Here
Yeah.
are the bullet points that we want each and every one of you to hit so that we have a repetitive, you know,
Argument.
voice or
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is what we're going to say. This is what we're going to do. And it's like a script, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they can,
It's well organized, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Which
And-
sucks for us.
and that's because it's funded and there's money behind it. And there's also, like Joe said, there's a lot of people sitting at home in their parents' basements on
Yeah.
computers that have a lot of time to sit and bitch and complain about
Well, and they
everything
want to
we're
be
doing.
they want to be a part of, you know, we're humans, right? So obviously all of us in this room, we have a lot of friends. We have a lot of people that we similar interests. So we're part of a community. Those people sitting in their parents' basement also want that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very easy access to that. They're all going, they don't really know why or really what they care about, but they're like, well, this group will take me.
Yeah, they
and
accept me.
I'm going to go be with them.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I don't think people should be able to trap beavers.
Right.
We should. Why are they
Ew.
trapping beavers?
Ew.
What did the beaver do to you?
Yeah.
They don't know. They have no clue.
Never seen a beaver in their life.
Yeah.
If you've never seen a beaver, don't watch Duck Dynasty because they hate beavers with a passion. Blow them up with napalm.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. No, it's just.
Wow, Doug.
Yeah, maybe we don't send Doug out there. Maybe we'll send you instead.
Yeah.
Those naughty beavers.
No, we need Doug out there.
Yeah.
Doug,
We need. He's gonna make a change with some of those folks.
Yes,
he's like,
he will.
listen,
I didn't say I
these
was one of
beavers
those
are horrible. We're gonna blow them up.
I didn't say I was one of those people.
Those damn beavers.
If I partake, I can't help you there.
Yeah, I had a beaver in my pond for like 2 days. When I say I had a beaver in my pond for 2 days.
You no longer have a beaver.
No, there's no
Yeah.
beaver in my pond.
Yeah.
But immediately
Well,
it
I
went
mean,
straight to just chewing down trees and dragging them over to my culvert and trying to clog the lake up to where it just would
Yeah.
flood
Well, yeah,
everything.
that's a problem. I mean, when you
Yeah.
have an outflow
listen,
like that,
That's just a beaver doing beaver stuff, man. Leave
I
him
don't
alone.
blame the beaver,
Leave
okay,
the beavers alone
for his problems. That's a naughty
Look,
beaver.
your house is flooded, but the beaver's just doing his stuff, man. Leave him alone.
Leave him alone, dude.
Screw that.
Yeah.
forget about all the erosion.
I have
that's going on.
there's a piece of property relatively close to my shop up in Granite, and I was trapping beavers up there. So I go up and I get access and talk to the landowner, and old dude. I walk up and I'm like, hey man, I heard you got some beavers, and he's like, yeah, again,
Yeah.
I'm going back to radio earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what he said, but he's like, fucking beavers, goddamn beavers,
Right.
And I'm like, cool. Well, could I trap on your property? And he's like, yeah, do it now,
Right.
So I go down there,
Farmers hate beavers.
and he's got like there was a beautiful little creek that flowed through his amazing piece of property, and it went into the South Fork of the Stillaguamish. Beautiful. The beavers, again, beavers beavers are amazing animals. If you read about them at all, and I'm a weirdo, so I read about.
I love beavers.
You've studied a lot of beavers.
Yeah. You've been married for
You
a long
think
time.
I'm bad? This guy's the worst of us all.
He's always inappropriate.
And those beavers they can hear the water. And they kind of, from hearing it, they know like the flow, and they will go up that creek, and they will dam that creek off. And now the guy has a 7-acre pond, which was beautiful forested habitat with a creek. Now he has flooded timber, unusable anymore. He had cattle in there at one point, and he had a barbed wire fence that ran across the creek. The beavers used the fence, and that's how they dammed up.
Oh man, those
They-
naughty little beavers.
all the way
Dude.
across the fence, not just where they started at the
Dude,
creek,
they're so smart.
and then they used that fence and interwove
They're
big
shit.
trees, like heavy, timbers into that, and built a dam that was. I walked it. I walked
Impressive.
along it, and I'm walking on top of the T-posts.
Oh shit.
Okay, that's how much they dammed it up, and it was 140 feet across, and they basically used that fence to build their dam, and destroyed this guy's property.
Completely.
Smart beavers.
So
Naughty beavers.
I look at beavers and I go, wow. When I say I look at beavers, Chris, don't.
I didn't say anything.
I can see the look in your eye.
had
You
a
said
look.
they go up little creeks because they
Yeah.
follow the moisture about these moist beavers. I didn't say anything. So,
But when I look at what beavers are capable of, you're like, wow, dude, this is amazing. And so when I first started trapping on that piece of property, the first thing I did is I went to where the creek flowed out and it was all dammed up. And I just got in there with a pickaxe and a chainsaw, and I cut a giant trench and opened up the flow.
Oh, you knew they were going to come back.
Well, yeah. So I set my
they're
traps.
gonna come back and fix their shit.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to come right away because
Yeah.
the beavers are in their den. They can hear and feel that the water is somewhere there's a
Leaving.
leak.
Yeah.
We have a leak in the system. So that's how you trap beavers, right? You create a leak or you find their slides or whatever. But I like to destroy
What they just created.
their
it makes
infrastructure,
sense.
and then I know they're going to come
they're
to
gonna
that
come back and
when
fix
you
it.
set traps
Yep.
for them. And in this state, it sucks because you got to live trap them, which is difficult.
Dumb.
But I set my traps and I did all my stuff. It takes hours to
That's
do
a
this.
lot of extra work too.
It's
to
a lot
do
of work.
A live trap.
And then I left it for 3 days. I went back. The beavers completely avoided my trap, and they'd rebuilt the whole dam
Wow.
in 3 days.
Impressive animals, really.
And brand new, they went and cut down trees
They did more
and
damage.
brought the big chunks
Yeah.
in, and they weave them in there to the
Yeah.
point where it's hard to get them out, and it's like, okay, well, we're the adversary,
Oh, yeah.
they're smarter.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that,
The beavers
but at
know
the
how
same
to use
time,
it.
it's like, hey, if I trap a beaver, I'm not like selling fur or anything like that, but I take that frickin' beaver home and I frickin' go in the house and I get my wife and I'm like, you get your ass out here and see what I did.
You
Right.
Look at
come
that
out
beaver.
here and look at this beaver.
And then I
Right.
skin it out and I cut those hindquarters off and take all the meat off and I'm like, we're gonna have some
We're going
frickin'
to be
beaver
eating
Yeah,
beaver.
Hell
because
yeah.
it's actually really good.
Pretty good.
I've
Pretty good.
actually never eaten beaver. I mean, I've seen a lot of beavers, but I've never.
I've eaten a shitload of beaver.
Have you?
I have. It's good. Honestly,
It's great.
It's like I think I like porcupine better
They're very similar.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Porcupines are right
So
there.
Yeah.
I have some beaver
Get your mind out
to
of the
try.
gutter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good, dude.
So
though. No, I'm a big fan. And honestly, the like a beaver pelt, like we got one on the
Yep,
dude.
beautiful little beaver.
beautiful.
If you don't like touching a beaver pelt,
They're so soft.
dude, they're so soft. They are so Doug.
Okay.
Douglas, I'm being
It
serious
is really
now.
hard to
It
have
is.
this conversation.
It really is though. Like if you guys have ever like a nice
Yes.
soft tan beaver
The
pelt,
undercoat, like not the
it's
guard hairs,
yeah,
but like
not
the
the guard hairs,
undercoat.
but the undercoat's incredible. Like it really is.
It is. I mean, they're just cool animals. I mean,
We really went on a
I
beaver
eat
tangent.
I eat all kinds of weird
Right.
animals.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of like.
Experimenting.
If you kill
Yeah,
it,
I mean, if
you
I
let's
kill
eat
it,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat it. You
Yeah.
know, muskrats, mergansers, whatever, dude. I'll eat anything. I've tried
Yeah,
bobcat.
I don't know about
I've
that.
eaten cougars that I've killed.
I like
I've eaten
bobcats.
Yeah.
mergansers.
I
I
like
made
Yeah.
bobcats.
Buffalo
All that
Dad.
stuff.
Yeah.
I made Easton eat a
If I
merganser
kill
the
it,
other
I'm gonna give it a
Did
go.
he eat the whole
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
did.
gonna say that I always eat everything I kill.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Coyotes, probably not.
man,
Yeah.
I've been right there before, but it's when you're skinning them. Sometimes a possum. I've tried possum.
Gosh, possums just are such nasty
They
looking
smell
little.
Well, they-
so bad.
Their tails, man. And whenever I look at their tail, I just
Yeah.
go, I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah,
It looks like a leprosy coming
that-
off their tail.
That's all the stuff that you
Yeah, but
you want to
You're scarred for life.
you want to
Jim,
pass
so-
on to the people who don't understand. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, man, I'm just part of nature too. I'm just out there bumbling around, and if I catch a frickin' beaver or a muskrat or
I'll give it a go
a bobcat, I'm gonna frickin' eat
Yeah.
it.
as long as my wife says it's okay.
Yeah.
Except for possums, dude. If you ever heard my possum story, then you'd know why I don't ever want to touch possum.
You need a free range possum. You don't want one that's been like
living under my house.
Yeah, living under your house.
You want a good high mountain possum.
Yeah, you want like a backcountry possum.
Do you have where do I get myself a good backcountry
A nice, good blueberry-fed high mountain possum is what you want,
They're super rare, but
Yeah.
you can find them
Yeah.
if you work
If
hard
I
enough.
ever get the opportunity to get a backcountry possum, maybe I'll take it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put that much effort in for a high country possum.
You never know.
Never know.
I would picture him like
might be
hanging
the
off
best
the
meat
tree,
you've ever eaten.
fucking
Yeah.
leaning down, maybe eat some salmon berries.
Now you're just thinking Disney.
I know. I just think about Chris's taxidermy, his gun shop, the thing hanging down by its tail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Those
Probably off of the Bambi movie, like one of the possums hanging from the trees.
things, they smell so bad.
So what do you guys have coming up? I mean, you guys hunt a ton now. I mean, I know you have your bear hunt coming up on Prince of Wales.
Right.
What else do you guys have coming up this year?
Well, we all drew Idaho deer tags for whitetail. This was the first year that they did the draw system for Idaho, so we didn't know what to expect. So I thought, oh man, just given the fact that everyone's going to go for like the highly regarded tags right off the get, I'm like, let's just take the duck and take a nice whitetail, like a good whitetail tag that we want, and then just go for that, number one. And then we'll put like some of the other higher stuff, like highly regarded tags, like number 2 and 3 and 4, just in case. There's like a long shot. And we hit on the whitetail tag, but none of us were able to get
The
elk tags for anything. We even put in for like panhandle elk tags, all of us separate for like the panhandle B tags, and we couldn't get it
on both draws.
Yeah, and so there's going to be a third draw, but that's even less odds than the first two. But
did they announce the third draw, or is that just
they're going to do a third draw at some point? I think I haven't looked at the date, but it should be coming up. But those are going to be whatever tags have trickled through the process, which is going to be like minuscule compared to what was there last time. Yeah, probably not even that. And then apparently Chris got himself into
Chris has got an elk tag. He's going to Prince of Wales. He's got a whitetail tag for BC.
I think we're going to make a whitetail film this year, like a big whitetail film.
Yeah.
Because Chris won the lottery at the SCI banquet, right?
Dude, I freaking brought the house down, brother.
Tell me about that, because I haven't even heard this story. You sent me a picture of you just like slamming a beer or something.
Dude, so there I was, right?
You guys win all the shit. I don't win anything.
So my buddy at our table,
I hope so,
bought the 3 deer.
Yep.
Right, which is rad.
So you beat out Dave Lee.
Oh, suck it, Dave.
Jeez.
Dave, I'm just playing. I won a Dan Wesson 10mm Bruin, which, if you know anything about handguns, it's a stunning pistol. Super excited. I also won the ladies' raffle with a concealed carry purse in a.
You won the ladies' raffle?
Yeah, in the Sig Sauer Rose edition, Lena Michelik's gun, 9mm, which is going to my wife. She's super excited about that. I got to go up to Skagit Arms, pick those up.
Jeez, you guys cleaned house.
And then I won the light. I was the first. So they draw this twice.
Think about how much money you spent for all that.
The life, I know.
Don't remind you?
I donated a lot.
When he says I won, it means he paid for it.
Yeah,
When I
in
told
one way, shape, or form.
the funniest part of this, I text my wife that I won this, and she texts me back in quotations, won.
Yeah, you didn't win anything, bro.
Yeah, okay.
She already knows.
So, Woody went on this hunt last year from SCI and shot like, I don't know how big it was, 168-inch whitetail or something like that. So anyways, I won. They give you a choice. They're like, do you want the rifle or do you want the hunt? And I was like,
I've got plenty of rifles.
I'll take the hunt.
and here's the kicker. If you guys have ever been in the shop as of like the last year, it was a Christensen arms gun, and they have turned into the biggest piece of shit company. Their guns are fucking garbage.
Oh, wow.
Absolute garbage.
I didn't know we were going here. All right.
Just trash. Every single one
Hey,
that I've had in the shop.
We like to bash companies.
I have sent every single gun that's come through the shop has been sent back. Every
Really?
single Christensen arms. Not a single one. Not one.
Explain to me a little bit why.
Do you even work on them anymore? You just send them back now?
Well, they have a 1 MOA guarantee. So people will get them and they'll shoot a 3.5-inch group and go, hey, I don't know what's wrong with this, right? So then they get sent back and their customer service is garbage and they go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and they never fix the gun, right?
And then they bring it to you.
Yeah, and great guy, Brandon Moses, brought one in. He goes, I want this rebarreled. Doesn't shoot very well. No problem. I spin it off, and it was literally broached like Cliff. So we have a live audience tonight, by the way. Gunsmith Cliff is over here with his brother-in-law. Gunsmith Cliff can attest to this. It was literally, so when you have an action and you spin the barrel off and you're looking at the front, no recoil lug, you can see these threads, right? So these are 16 threads per inch, big coarse threads. And when you broach this, right, this wire EDM cut, they cut the raceways for the bolt. When they did this, it was so off-center, it was cut halfway through the threads on the right-hand side. And you know what Christensen Arms told the customer? Tough shit.
Yeah. Really?
It's within specs.
Is this the same barrel that you tried to thread, too?
Is this the one you put on my gun?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So
you said it was for free. What the hell?
I did end up, I told the customer, I was like, hey, if you really want me to, I'll do my very best for you. And it was on a 28 nozzle, and I cut him a barrel, and that gun shoots a quarter minute now. Because Cliff and I took a shit ton of effort.
What did you put back on it?
We put I think it was I don't remember if it was a proof or benchmark barrels. It was a carbon fiber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I when I was shopping, I don't know if I was shopping, but I was reaching out to some companies for a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was new on the radio show, and I just wanted somebody to sponsor me and work with them. And obviously Browning, I didn't really have, at that point, I didn't have a direct connection, but I was talking to my friend Ryan Avery. You probably know Ryan.
A little bit.
Yeah. So,
through you.
Rock Slide.
Yeah.
And Ryan was like, hey, let me hook you up with Christensen Arms. And I was like, cool. So I talked to him a little bit. I found the person who handles their pro staff guys, whatever I'm considered, to be lacking.
Off-putting, per se?
Yeah, just not, and I didn't feel like I wanted a company that I could really get behind. And obviously Browning was really who I wanted to be with, because that's just what I grew up with. And as going through that process, I started doing a bunch of research, and stories like what you just told, I found that a lot. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going that direction.
Yeah.
And then I was very lucky to then make that connection with Browning. And you've worked on worked on my guns. They're out of the box. You can go buy one anywhere you want. It's not a custom. And they've been amazing.
Dude, you've murdered a lot of stuff, bro.
Well, and I go,
a lot.
Since being with Browning, I was like, okay, well, I work with Browning and my optics company, and I have access to pretty much whatever I want. Rifles, optics. I was like, well, I should probably get better at this whole shooting thing. So then I started going to shooting school, and I go there with guys like you who roll in with $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 rigs. And I sit down there with my out-of-the-box Browning long-range Macmillan with the suppressor you put on it, my Vortex optics, and I hang very well. I'm not like the best, but I can ring the bell, dude, way out there.
At 1,400 yards, by the way.
Yeah, 1,400 yards, man.
Yeah.
And you give me enough time to sit down, go through my process, read the wind, I'm going to ring that bell at 14. with my 6.5 PRC long range Macmillan Browning that you can just go buy out of the store. So, obviously what you do building customs is a whole nother level, but you also have access to a lot of really good rifles. And with Christensen, I just don't know what's going on there because I hear it a lot. That guys have issues. And I mean, I talk to a lot of guys who hunt and, they go and buy one and then they're like, this thing's squirrely as can be, man.
It's really disappointing. So in the shop, Cliff can attest to this, is we have guys that come in and you say, Chris, I want top of the line. I want the new carbon fiber gun. Like the gun I'm building the boys right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at those MDT Hunt 26 chassis,
how much money you got in your pocket? That's your first question.
Well, the thing is that the gun that I'm building for these guys with the American Rifle Action and the Benchmark carbon fiber, the base gun, no scope, is $5,500.
Yeah,
that's how much a rifle costs. And they go, and the first reaction, which is totally normal, by the way. This is the reason I started a gun company, because I couldn't afford to buy one. Was holy shit, that's a lot of money. And I go, let me give you some options for a good off-the-shelf gun, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, I want super light, I want carbon fiber this and carbon fiber that. Absolutely. And I was referring Christensen, and I'd get every gun back. And I was like, I'm sick of this shit. And then people get mad at me. Like,
because you recommended them.
They went and spent $3,000.
You're like, I'm trying to help you sell guns, but you guys keep fucking up.
So I have a no Christensen arms policy in the shop now. And we started carrying Seekins.
Yeah.
And I don't really know the guys at Seekins, but I will tell you that their guns are
much better.
Which is
good.
all that matters. Look,
whether
you're a Weatherby guy or a Browning guy, or you want to go with a Seekins, or you want to go with Benchmark or whatever, make sure you – here's the other thing. It comes down to research. Just do some research. Talk to a bunch of people who've owned one of these or owned one of those, and figure, talk like now. You have a no Christensen's arms policy.
No.
Well, there's a reason if a guy like you has that at your shop. So just do a little bit of research. And if you want to be a guy who can just walk into Skagit Arms and go talk to Jared and buy a gun off the shelf, but you want to dip into that, long range training thing that I like to do now, which is I like to shoot really far when I'm training. And Jared
you
Calkins,
like that?
Yeah.
You like that? I just pulled out a Skagit. I'm a big fan of Skagit Arms, by the way.
Yeah,
you guys,
Jared's awesome.
If you
I
never
went to school with Jared.
Yeah, so if you
He's
don't
the same age as me.
If you don't have the option to buy a custom gun and you don't want to buy a gun through me, it doesn't bother me a bit. But I would say do not go to Cabela's. Go to Skagit Arms.
Well, here's the deal. Here's what happens, okay? When you're a hunter or a fisherman, you go somewhere like Skagit.
Mm-hmm.
Jared's going to sell you something that's going to work really well for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 or 3 years down the road, you're going to go, I want something a little bit more high speed.
Yeah.
And then Jared's going to be like, well, I got a buddy.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to him. His name's Chris.
Are you a dick? Because he doesn't take dicks.
No, he doesn't. And then you can go down the rabbit hole, man, and get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I my friend Dave Lee, we have a shooting school, and you can go down the rabbit hole as far as you want to go with this stuff. But really, it comes down to how well that piece of equipment will perform with how you can operate it, right? It all comes down to trigger pull, breathing, follow through, all that stuff. My good friend Jake Vibber, who trains all of us, amazing shooter,
world class, one of the best in the world.
Yeah, one of the best. You can go, go to school, man. Go learn how to use your rifle, and you don't have to have a $15,000 rig. You can go buy one from Skagit Arms, get set up, but it will lead you down that rabbit hole eventually, and then go as deep as you want. Get into it. Take the whole family. Get them all into it. Have them all shooting.
Yeah.
It's so fun, dude.
Shooting
it's
period
a
is good.
blast.
And there's a big misconception with the long range shooting thing that we're all going to go out there and try to shoot something, 1,500 yards away. And there's guys who can do it, and I'm sure you can, Chris. I don't need to shoot that far because I grew up killing everything within 100 or 200 yards.
Right.
But now I can
You
shoot
have the
at
ability.
1,500 yards. So if I see something at 430, guess what?
Yeah.
Before I would have
hesitation.
never taken that shot.
Yeah.
Ever. Would never take that long of a shot.
That's how we feel
Now-
before we met Chris.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just lay down and go,
Yeah.
done. Right?
It's that for me. I was in Winthrop, and I was hunting, and I remember there's this giant deer. Like in my mind, it's probably way bigger than it actually
It was probably a 2x3 with an eye guard.
Probably like
it
this
was
one
like-
right up here.
It was like
Yeah.
700.
probably
No,
was.
that one right there.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
700 something or 800 yards. I don't know how far it was, but I remember the guys were shooting at it. None of them were even close, and I just
Yeah.
thought that deer is so far. There's no way I could ever. And it was like right at last light, and there was just because there's no way to put a sneak on it and get any closer, right? And I was like, I'm never ever gonna let that opportunity pass me again. I'm gonna learn how to shoot farther. I need a new gun. I got to do this, got to do that. But then I was poor, right? Hence starting the gun company and learning. Like I literally started with a Remington 700, just saucing it up from there,
Yeah.
learning how to reload, and then it's just grown into the catastrophe that it is now. But I tell you what, I'm taking old 50-yard 308 guy right here, and he's freaking blasting bears at 500 and 600 yards all day now. So, because sometimes, don't get me wrong, I've archery hunted for years. I've killed tons of stuff at 10 yards. Just saying, I feel like it just affords you the opportunity that if something like that happened, that you could make that shot. Now,
Right.
I'll shoot a deer in the face at 10 feet. I'm not like saying that
No,
I'm
yeah.
against, shooting close and or far. I'm just saying I want to be proficient at both.
Yeah, and that's the key, proficient. So, the reason I go to shooting school every year is I want, I also hunt, like when it comes to like deer and elk, I have a little bit more respect. I don't know how this is going to come out, but then
I know what you're saying.
when it comes to other things,
Yeah.
predator,
Yeah.
the predator class, bears, cougars, coyotes. I want to make a clean shot on those animals,
Dude, I'll shoot
but I'm willing to take a little bit more of a
Risk.
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 Yeah.
But I'm shooting and hitting a steel target this big at 1,400 yards.
Yeah.
So if I take a 500-yard shot on a bear, and I'm talking like I'm not going to take that shot if there's a bunch of wind or it's pissing rain or it's snowing. But if I'm up there in August, man, and there's a bear at 570, and I got time he has no idea I'm there. I have all day set up, build my rest, sit there and really focus. I'm going to kill that bear. Even out to 700 yards.
I'll shoot a coyote up the ass at 1,000 yards.
Yeah. No, and
Do
and
not
like I'm
care.
saying,
I was waiting for it. I
You
was
know?
waiting for it.
I'm just saying.
I
Like,
know.
I would never do that to a deer or an elk because I'm going to eat them, or even a bear. But a coyote, I don't give a shit about a coyote. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm shooting it through the hind quarter, out the face.
Jeez,
like
Chris.
they're catching these rounds, right? They won't catch these hands. So I see what you're saying, and I do feel the same way because I'm very.
and look, hey, if you got to go through the ass to get it done,
It's called the old
as
Texas
long as
heart
it's
shot.
dead,
Yeah.
fine. Don't think I haven't,
Texas heart shot something?
I have in my lifetime, like I've shot a deer before, and had it, first shot wasn't maybe the
Right.
best,
Right.
and then I snuck in and it got up and started to go away. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? You're getting one up the tailpipe, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, and you're
Yeah.
going down,
Yeah.
going home in my backpack.
Yeah. Less meat to pack out. I guess.
Gutless.
Well,
It's the gutless method.
if you get them right in the
Right.
if you get them right in the hole,
That's
you
true.
don't mess up that
That's
much
true.
meat.
I
That's
tell you
true,
what,
but-
it's an instant kill if you shoot them there.
I did shoot a bear up the ass
I
once.
don't think I've ever done it to a deer.
It
The
was
last
going over
buck
a
my
hill,
dad
and I was
killed
like,
was
I gotta
Texas
kill
hard
this
shot.
bear.
Yeah.
And it
And
I
the
mean,
thing
Yeah,
does the job.
pancaked.
It does the job.
it will do the job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why it's a thing.
Yeah.
The Texas
It's
heart shot.
It's a thing.
It will. It will also do a lot of damage.
It
Why is
is.
it-
If
You
you
might-
want, if you're
you
planning
might-
on spilling the guts, I would suggest going the gutless method usually.
Yeah,
You
no,
might not
go-
have tenderloins after
Yeah.
that.
Why is
but-
it called the Texas heart shot?
I don't because they
anybody
do
know?
weird stuff in Texas.
Yeah,
I don't know. They shoot
Dude,
like
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
You
We've
know?
been calling it that for so many
The
years.
Texas
We have no
heart
idea
shot.
why we call it that.
Hey, that's gonna be our giveaway. Okay, if anyone can explain this in the comments, we'll give you a free Onyx membership.
Yeah.
If you can explain what, and no Googling either. Some dickhead's gonna go home and Google it.
Dude, guaranteed everybody's
And-
Googling.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
And I'll throw in a Vortex hat from Chris's gun shop. I saw one. I was in the gun shop before we started the podcast. There's a Vortex hat in his gun shop right now, and you get
damn.
that. You can have that.
yes.
I'll replace it.
Yes.
I'll bring you 4 or 5 of them.
To be fair,
But you get Chris's Vortex.
there are
hat.
a couple decent guys. I hate to admit it. There are a couple decent. There's a Training Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are sponsored by Vortex. You're sponsored by Vortex, and so are the guys from P and Wild.
Yep.
Those are the only exceptions.
Yeah.
And we all give each other shit.
Oh,
because
dude.
it's
Oh, yeah.
just fun. That's just what we do.
I mean, there's Remy Warren. There's Tim Burnett.
Yeah, but they're not our buddies. They're not my buddy, anyways. You may know him.
Yeah.
If Remy wants to bring his big chiclet teeth in here and talk to me, I'll talk with him.
I'm gonna send him this.
do you
podcast.
remember when we ran into him
At the Western Hunt Expo, and I was
and you
like,
came up to you started giving him pointers on how to hunt bears.
yeah, I did. And he was like, who is this guy?
I was laughing so hard. I'm like, did you just come up into the conversation?
Dude,
and
I
start
did.
telling him?
Totally. And I was like, hey, this is what you should be doing, And
Yeah.
he's just like looking at me. Because he's a tiny human being. He's this big around.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
reason he can climb to the top of a mountain because he weighs 50 pounds.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met Remy, I was at the Western Hunt Expo, and this is probably 10 years ago, right? Maybe 12 years ago. And I watched Remy on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Me too. 100%,
You know,
yeah.
and I'm just like, you have this picture in your mind.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
this big,
Bigger
lanky
than
dude.
life. Yeah, yeah.
It's like Tom
Um,
Cruise.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought
He
I
is.
Yeah,
I
top-
could have picked him
he's
up
the
and
Top
held
Gun.
him, cradled him like a baby.
This is the Tom
And then
Cruise of the hunting world.
I'm at the Western Hunt Expo, and I'm standing there, and I'm talking to it was me and Lampers and Tim Burnett. And Tim was just coming back from a aoudad hunt in Texas. So we're standing there, and Tim's like, hey, you want to go out and see my aoudad? And it's the back of my truck, And I was like, yeah, I want to see that. And then Remy walks up. He just showed up. And he walks up, and he's got like a backpack on with a hood, and he's drinking a Corona at the expo, And I was like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like 6 feet tall. I expect Remy to be like 6'3".
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's Remy Warren? And he's just like this really,
He's very small.
Yeah.
little dude.
Yeah.
And he walks up and he's like, hey guys, what's going on? And Tim's like, hey, have you met Lampers and Joey? And he's like, yeah, hey. And I hadn't met him yet. And he's like, hey Joey, I've seen your stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, phew, takes off again. Like just phew, backpack. I'm guessing full of Coronas.
Right.
And he just cruises off. And that's when I first met. Burnett was like, Boardman's over there at Vortex, and went over there.
Oh.
And I was like, So I slipped over there, and
We could have got him if
And
we would have.
Dude,
Tim was like, hey, Mark, have you met Joey? And Mark was like, oh, hey, how would you like to be on the team? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
that was a fork in the road.
12
That
years,
was-
dude,
that
with
was-
Vortex.
If we could
and
just
they've been
rewind
amazing.
time.
I know you guys are Leupold guys, but,
Some guys like kissing guys. It's fine. I'm not here to judge you. It's totally fine. It's totally fine, Joey. We're open, dude. We're open-minded guys. You know?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with kissing guys,
You know,
right?
it's fine.
Isn't that a thing?
It's
a
totally
thing.
gay if you like it, right?
Isn't that like a thing here in Washington?
Yeah, totally a thing.
Isn't there a lot of
see it
guy
all. I
kissing
see it
going
all
on?
the time, dude.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
just
big
assume
thing.
they all shoot vortex. I don't know.
Oh, funny.
All right, this podcast is going down
Yeah.
a weird road.
We have totally gone off into the weeds.
Should we wrap this one up? We've been going for a minute.
I think we should be probably wrapping it up. So what was the comment that if you want to win a
Texas
Onyx-
Heart Shot.
Yeah.
Texas Heart
Yeah.
Shot, okay.
We need
And
some-
explain to us why you think it is Texas Heart Shot.
Yeah.
Why is it called a Texas Heart Shot? That's what we're
Should
looking
be
for.
an easy.
And no using Chat GPT.
Everybody's going to use it. We'll just leave it out there.
We
the
may-
best comment wins.
We may give 1 or 2 Onyx.
And
You know,
a
we're going to
and a
be
Vortex
we're
hat.
going to be
Vortex
getting
hat.
in the shipment of the
Vortex hat.
pre-orders for the Mule Deer Matter T-shirts,
Okay.
and I ordered quite a few extras.
Okay.
So maybe they'll get a Mule Deer Matter T-shirt and an Onyx membership.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Because
And a
Mule Deer
Vortex hat.
matter, and you shouldn't shoot them up to your ass.
And with that,
Oh, my gosh. And with that, guys, stay humble and hunt hard.
gosh.